Hey everyone, Florida Man here, in the city right now, about to head out to the village. I was in my coffee shop. I usually try to spend some time there to do my planning for the week and all that sort of stuff. And so I sit down, wrote a proper list about volunteering at the Forge. This should be comprehensive. This should be about everything you guys need to know if you want to come to help me at the Forge. I've been talking about it, thinking about it. This is something I thought about, like, once I found the Forge, and I was like, it was kind of like a gold mine to me in the sense of like, when I first came to Ukraine, my biggest fear was finding like good stuff to do, like good volunteer work to do. I was in Lviv, and I'm not trying to shit on people, but peeling potatoes and net weaving, you might want desire to do more than just that. So I felt very fortunate when I found the Forge, and I thought a lot of other people would be really interested in coming to help out the Forge, and to make stuff for the military, stuff that's really needed. So, I tried getting to people. I tried reaching out to people. I've had maybe less than 10 people come out to the Forge since the year I started working at the Forge. Pretty much, it's almost been a year now, I think, since I've first arrived at the Forge. So, and most of them were like locals. I've had local Ukrainians. I've had some volunteer friends. Nothing like serious, like long-term, like me, who's been working there for a very long time now. So I kind of gave up on it almost. But now, obviously, YouTube's kind of put a little bit more of a spotlight on me. And now I can actually reach out to people. And people are reaching out to me wanting to help at the Forge. And we just had our first volunteer. I just had my first volunteer. I guess, Mac... he watched Mac's videos, he saw the interview, and he said, hey, he just arrived off the boat pretty much, or right off the train in Lviv, asked me, if I needed an extra hand, and yes, I did. So he came to Vinnytsia. We just worked for a little bit last week, and now we're about to go back out, and we're going to work some more. So, yeah, that experience kind of confirmed to me, this is great. We could always use an extra hand at the Forge. And we could probably use more in the future, but that's something I'm going to get into in a little bit. So first off, starting at the Forge, who do we need? What skill sets, what and whatnot? And honestly, I've had people, message me, and they tell me about their certificates, about their, previous experience with welding and metalworking type stuff. And I'm gonna be honest, guys, I'm an amateur welder. I'm a very amateur welder. It's good enough here in Ukraine. All right, it's good enough, and that works. I have no certificates. I have no proper training. I watch YouTube videos. That's how I learned how to weld. So you do not need to be an expert master. That does not mean we are going to take someone off the street and give them a MIG welding torch and just let them go at it. We're not going to let you do that. All right. How I kind of see it, no matter what your skill level is, if you come to the Forge, the first thing you are going to do at the Forge is bend staples. That is like, to me, it's almost like when I first started working like in the service industry, I wanted to be a bartender. No place is going to put a guy behind the bar who has zero service industry experience. It does not matter. I started off as a barback. And so to me, that's kind of like the same, like in the volunteer world, or you say at the Forge, it's like, look, there is zero accountability. There's zero, like, I have no way of identifying that this is your prerequisite skills, your work ethic, all this sort of stuff. The first thing I get to do to know what sort of person, what sort of work ethic you have is to see how you bend staples. You can see that in a barback or in a busser. Bussers that bust their ass, they don't stay bussing too long unless the place is a shithole. And no one can stay there longer than a week. And so it's just a constant chaos. That happened to me once. I worked at one restaurant, man. It was a freaking nightmare. But that's a whole other story. But yeah, so basically, no matter what your skill set is, the first thing you're going to be doing is bending staples. All right. I don't care how many years of experience you have with other things. If you think it's beneath you, if you don't think it's worth your time, it's worth the military's time. All right. The military needs staples primarily right now. We're making other stuff too at the Forge, but the first thing and fourth thing that we need to make is staples, because that's always in the highest demand is staples. So that's what we do first. All right. So I don't want people, kind of being disappointed or like upset that we're not fully utilizing their skill set. If we need staples, we need staples. That's what the Army's requesting. So that's like work wise, work skill wise, you really don't need anything. You need one good hand. All right. You need one good hand. Actually, probably two good hands. Two good hands would be better. Two good hands and one good foot so you can stand. You need to be able to stand. And this is like the physical conditions. Older people, the biggest thing, even older, younger, you need to be in relatively good health. Relatively as in, you don't have like chronic coughing. You're not like sick all the time. The workplace is outside. It has like, it's not insulated. It has a, roof overhead, but it's pretty much outside. We're in the elements. I mean, we're protected from rain where you get a little wind where we're at, but it's outside, man. And, when it gets cold, it gets freaking cold in Ukraine, so get ready for that. I can't have people, constantly sick showing up, and we have to take care of someone who's sick, who, is just prone to illness and something like that, who has like a chronic condition that they just can't be out in the forge and work for several days straight. All right. And that's, go on to the next thing, but that's down there, what, working work wise, but basically ethics, work ethics, that's the primary thing. Literally, this guy, he showed up on the train and he's like, I'm ready to go. I'm like, great, that's what I need. I need guys who are ready to go. You get off the train and you are ready to go. You're ready to go to the forge. You're ready to start work. You are cool with it. You're not like super paranoid about this or that. It's it's pretty safe where we're at. Figuring out a bunch of random stuff. He's just ready to go. I want that. That's what I want. I want people who are ready to go, like hit the ground running. You get off the train and you're ready to get to work. All right. That's what I'm looking for. All right. Yeah. All right. So how do you get to the ground running? Like all right, you're ready to go hit the ground running, but you know what ground to go to. How to get to the forge. I had one email recently. The guy, he said he was thinking about driving to Ukraine, and he's in the EU, and he's very far, very far, and that would be a hell of a drive. There's three ways to get into Ukraine primarily. There's three ways for volunteers. All right, first one is by train. Train is like the most common way to get inside Ukraine. To enter Ukraine by train and to get around Ukraine by train. I highly recommend it. There's pros and cons for each way, but first one, let's go about train wise. Going in by train, it's super cheap. Ukrainian trains are always on schedule. There's a lot of them. The cons, they're very popular and they're very cheap. The tickets are hard to find sometimes. You need to know how to use the app. You need to know that you cannot book a train ticket more than 2 weeks in advance. And so very common trips is from the Polish city of Przecież. I think it's Przecież. I'm going to really butcher that. To Kyiv. That's the train you're going to take, pretty much. Przemysl, I think it's called. Yeah. So basically, that's the most common train people use to get inside Ukraine if you're a foreign volunteer. You go in for Przemysl, and Przemysl goes through Lviv, through my city, through Vinnytsia. So that's a great thing. You don't even have to jump trains. If you can get on Przemysl that goes to Kyiv, you're going to go through my city. So if you can get on that train, you can get that train to Vinnytsia, great. No problem. Take that train. The only problem is it's a very popular train. The seats are usually taken up. And it only runs twice per day. And one's like super early and one's super late. So you can't really fly in that day to get the train. You have to fly in the day before, and then you have to get like a super early train to get to that city, unless you want to stay in Przemysl, that city itself. So that's one of the issues when it comes to the trains is the scheduling. It's not too comfortable. Usually I recommend, you get a train into Ukraine, into Lviv, stay in Lviv for a day, relax, see what Lviv's like. It's a nice city. And then from Lviv to Vinnytsia, there's several trains that you could take from Lviv to Vinnytsia in a day. Sometimes it's not as comfortable either. The scheduling wise, there's only like 2 or 3 trains that kind of end up in Lviv or in Vinnytsia during the day, like one at 10, one at noon, and one at like 4 or so. But that is an option. Trains are pretty convenient. And if you do take the train, if you're coming to work at the forge primarily, you say, hey, Ben, I'm coming to the forge. I'm there to work with you. I will pick you up at the train station. All right. Not like a chauffeur. I'm not going to take you everywhere you need to go all the time. But like, if you're coming in by train, you're coming to help the forge. I'm going to take you to the village. All right. I'm not going to, if you've been here for a while, you know how to use marshutkas, you know how to use taxis and stuff. You can take care of yourself. But if you're coming off, you came to Ukraine just to help the forge, you're not pretty comfortable with most of the stuff, I will take you to the village. I'll pick you up at the train station. We'll grab a coffee, talk a little bit, and I'll take you to the village. And then we'll get started at work. That's the train way. Second way is by driving. If you drive into Ukraine, you know, I'm not going to help you with the legal stuff about figuring out how it works with vehicles for your country when it comes to bringing it into Ukraine. But I'm pretty sure most EU countries is the same what I did. It's a pain in the ass, especially if you don't speak the language. Just tell them that you're not selling your vehicle. It's your vehicle. You're doing volunteer work, just say for a very short bit. No, like, you know, I'm just in Ukraine for a month or two doing volunteer work. Hopefully, make sure you have all your car documents. I know you guys have your technical or like machine passports. They always ask for that. Just make sure you have all your documents put together. But like I say, if you're coming through the Polish border, man, leave early. I think that's my best advice is leave super freaking early. A little racist. Ukrainians are not morning people. They do not wake up early. If you can get to the border at like 7 in the morning, you're probably beating most Ukrainians before they like try to go cross the border and stuff. So leave early. That's like 6, go 6 in the morning to cross the border. That's my best advice. Leave super early, you know, earlier the better, I would say. And then, yeah, you can drive through Ukraine. But if you haven't driven in Ukraine, you know, take it slow, man. Depending on also when you come, like if you come during winter, you know, make sure you have snow tires on and all that good stuff. I mean, roads here can be quite dangerous. How people drive. For driving, basically, if you were to cross the border from Poland to reach my city, I think from the border to Lviv, it's like an hour. And then from Lviv to my city, it's like a 5-hour drive. 5-hour drive, depending on how many, you know, toilet breaks and, you know, if you want to eat on the road or sit down somewhere to eat. So it could take you up to 6 to 7 hours to reach my place just from crossing the border. And if you've been at the border for 3 hours or 4 hours, you probably do not want to drive for another 7 hours. So I'd recommend you, you know, stay a night in Lviv. Lviv, though, it can be really crowded. Probably just try to get an Airbnb on the outskirts of the city. Parking inside the city is a nightmare. But yeah, if you drive then and you drive here and you get here, you can meet me, you know, at one of the larger parking lot areas. We'll go grab coffee. We'll grab lunch. We'll talk a little bit. And then you can drive with me. We can either drive together. I'll show you safe places to keep your vehicle in city. But if you want, you can bring your vehicle out to the forge and then we'll go out together. And, you know, that's great because then you're on your own. You can move around and stuff. We have enough space at the forge to park another vehicle. You know, if you want to leave, you do whatever you want. And then also, you know, something else I'll talk about later, but like, you know, you're not tied to the forge as long as I'm there. Because, you know, if I'm going to the forge for 4 days and, you know, you didn't bring a vehicle, it's just me and you know, you're going back with me. We're going back and forth together. If you have your own vehicle, you have a bit more liberty and freedom to do what you like, coming and going to the forge. But that's, you know, there's just the complications of driving, filling up on gas, how gas stations work here, all that sort of small stuff. And expenses, you know, gas is not cheap here. Gas is not cheap at all in Ukraine. That's a challenge, all right? Just be aware of that. Third way to get across the border is by walking. If you walk and take a bus, pretty much, you take the buses. It's the cheapest and fastest way to cross the border. And it's kind of like one of the more convenient ways. Now that I don't even think about when I'm crossing the border, I used to kind of like have to plan, schedule, make sure all the times are worked out to make sure I get on this train at the right time. And I'm able to check out of the hotel before, or like if you're doing Airbnbs, you gotta make sure you have like self-checkout and all that. You know, walking, you don't have to really worry too much about things. If you walk across the border, you basically just get a bus to the border, walk across, and then pick up a bus at the other side. And then pretty much you would arrive in my city by train or by bus. I really don't recommend buses here, guys. I mean, they might be a little cheaper than a train sometimes or something, but they freaking just, they take forever, man. Buses take forever. And then it's just, you know, bad roads, you know, you'll probably get like car sick and stuff. And if you're not used to it, I'd say just try to get the train. If there are no trains and you're like, I got to get there today, you know, fine, take the bus. I don't drive buses around here. I got my own vehicle. So either I take the train or I drive myself. But yeah, you can get by walking across the border, but I would say you need to, don't do it your first time because you have to be comfortable. Maybe you know how to get to like Polish side. You can, you know, use bus systems well in Poland. Once you're in Ukraine, though, you need to know how to use a marshrutka. You need to know what a marshrutka is, how to get on a marshrutka. There is a marshrutka at the border. It's like, I think 150 hryvnia. and that will take you to Lviv. I'll take you to the outer bus stations in Lviv, and then it's like an hour and a half bus ride. So it's super convenient, and that thing runs like every hour, so you're fine. So that's getting to the forge. If you guys can get on a train and get to the and tell me like, hey Ben, I got a train, it's arriving on this day, and this is like weeks, you know, like once you have a train ticket, show me the train ticket, all right? And then, you know, we're set. You know, I'm committed. I see that you're committed. I'm committed. I'll be there, okay? So that's reaching the forge. And I guess we kind of more like naturally go into like about what's it like the schedule wise. All right, you're at the forge. How's this going to work now? Currently, like, I have some ideas depending on how many volunteers we get. If it becomes very popular, I might make some investments on some, you know, ways to make things more comfortable for everyone and make it more convenient and make it more streamlined and better. But currently, basically, you guys are going to follow my schedule. If you're coming to the forge right now to help, you're following my schedule unless you speak Ukrainian, because the people at the forge don't speak any English. And, you know, it's their house. And having a guest that you cannot communicate with at all, a stranger you don't know, to them, they're a bit off about that. So they like to have someone who can translate for them. So I'm the translator. I'm not your best translator either. Don't ask me to ask them complex questions, all right? My Ukrainian isn't that good yet. And I'll get into some other things about that. But yeah, so your schedule is my schedule, all right? So if I'm in the forge for 4 days, you're in the forge for 4 days. And I'm thinking that's how I kind of like it right now. That's usually how I like to work. 4 days on, 3 days off. You know, 4 days in the forge, 3 days in the city. I usually come back around Friday, you know, spend Friday, Saturday, Sunday in the city, and then head back on Monday. Actually, no, like we might do like Thursday. We only spend like 3 nights there. So yeah, leave Monday, stay there Tuesday, Wednesday, leave Thursday afternoon after lunch. We do a morning shift. And then, you know, spend the weekend in the city. Your accommodations in the city, you will have to take care of yourself, all right? There are some cheap hotels. There's cheap Airbnbs. It's not bad at all. Like the going rate, you can get something for around 15 to 20 bucks if you're really trying to be like frugal about it. 15 to 20 bucks a night here in Vinnytsia. And food-wise, food is really cheap. And I guess, yeah, let's go into about accommodations, housing, and how all that stuff works. So at the forge, you're taken care of at the forge. Whenever you're at the forge, you're going to be taken care of. You're going to have your 3 meals. Whenever you arrive, you know, you're going to get fed. And it's rude not to eat, all right? So don't show up with a full stomach. Be ready to eat, all right? Just be ready to eat. If you have allergies and stuff like that, please let us know. You know, it's kind of fun. You know, I've had some vegans show up, and some of them are great. We'll just serve you kasha, all right? You're going to get kasha. If you don't know what kasha is, it's buckwheat. You're going to get buckwheat. You're just going to get buckwheat, all right? And we'll make vegan borscht. But, you know, if you're like, oh, I'm gluten intolerant, dude, this is not the time for that. I'm sorry, man. You know, don't make them struggle to try to figure out how to cook to your needs. If you have some allergies or big things, I'll let them know, and you can, you know, I'll take you to the supermarket before we head over, and you can do some grocery shopping for yourself. But yeah, so don't expect like special accommodations in that way. You know, peanut allergies and that stuff, that's big. That's important to know. Let us know, and I'll talk about working around that sort of stuff, like allergies and stuff. But yeah, you're going to have breakfast, lunch, dinner. You're going to eat a lot of borscht, lots of borscht. You're going to eat a lot of village food. It might not be up to your like cleanliness standards. That's one of the things I'd say. That's my biggest thing when I say about the forge. You're going to be entering a village. You're going to be living in a village. I recommend you take some vitamin C pills before you go. The place is dirty. It's a blacksmith's place on top of that being in a village. It's dirty as crap, all right? It's really dirty. Just be ready to kind of rough it out for 4 days. And it's not like super rough in it, but you know, you might be sleeping on the couch. We have like 2 beds. The son, if he's in town, he gets 1 bed, and me and you will alternate with the other bed from night to night. The couch might be preferable because it's right next to the fire. So especially during winter, you might actually prefer having the couch. But yeah, that's how it's working. And let's talk about like what I have in mind. If I get enough people where like I consistently have people showing up like every week or every other week, and there might be multiple people wanting to come at the same time, there's a village nearby, and they have like a little apartment complex. And I was thinking about maybe renting out one of those places. I think it's probably like $100 a month or something. So if I get enough people interested in coming here and I see that's continuous, it's not like sporadic, one guy here for 1 week, a month, and there. It's like, all right, if I got guys coming like every week, and it might be like multiple overlapping people, because we can use more people. The problem is I only have we only have we only have like 3 bedrooms. We only have 3 places to sleep. So if I'm going, you're going, and the son's there, that's already all filled. Where the 4th guy's going to sleep. If it's summer, I got my van. I could sleep in my van, no problem. But during winter, that's a no-go. So I'm thinking about renting an apartment close by. Let's make sure it's like a 2-bedroom. And so we can do the work during the day, show up for morning shift, get lunch, do afternoon shift, have a little supper, and then I'll take you guys, or you guys can take the marshrutka back to your apartment, and you stay there, do whatever, have your own little privacy a little bit. I like that idea a lot. I think I might do that, but I just need to have enough people committed to coming here, and I need to see that people are coming here and they're actually working and they're doing good. I'd be like, all right, let's make the investment. So that's something I'm thinking about. That is definitely something I'm thinking about. But right now, basically, you're going to be living with them, and your schedule is going to be tied to my schedule. If I'm not going to be in city for a while, now if you're like a repeat guy, I don't want to say this is a given, a take, but like if once you know each other, maybe you speak a little Ukrainian, they might be okay with just you going by yourself there. But that's not a given. Don't take that as a given. That once you've shown up once, you can just show up whenever. Yeah, that's the thing. And I guess also to talk about like it's kind of like right now, because you are like, you're being hosted, maybe you're a bad guest. Maybe you're a bad guest. Maybe you're a bit rude. Maybe that's not a good fit. Maybe you don't like them too much. Maybe it's not just a good fit. And so maybe they don't want you to come back. All right. So when you talk about people not coming back. All right. So I appreciate the work. That's the other thing too. It's not like, oh, we can have our separate lives, just work. And yeah, we have our little squabble, but you're living with us. You're living with us. You need to be able to get along with us. You need to be along to get along with everyone inside that house. So, that's just a given. All right. If you're coming to work at the Forge, you need to have some social skills. You need to be able to be a polite guest. Don't be rude. Know some basic mannerisms of Ukraine. That's pretty much a big one. Because if it's not convenient, as he said, like if you make a bad impression, you might make, the wife so upset. She's like, I don't want any more foreigners. And then you ruined it for everyone. That's my worry. I'm worried till I get like one, because that's another video about like volunteers in Ukraine. But there's some people I see in Lviv. I'm like, God damn, dude, like, what the fuck? Yeah, I don't want those guys. But how do I screen them? How do I filter them? It's kind of just like just meet you, see how it goes, and then if it's not a good fit, I'll kick you out pretty much. If you're a bad person, bad manner and whatnot, I'll tell you up front. It's like, hey man, they're not liking this at all, that's how it is sometimes. So that's pretty much living at the Forge. You'll be living at the Forge with us, and then 3 days in the city, relax, and basically I need at least a 1-week commitment from you. If you're showing up, and you're like, we're going to the Forge together, don't come and be like, work for a day and be like, all right, I'm done, I'm going to go. Unless you have your own vehicle, then sure, whatever. But you're committed to that Forge for that week. And don't think it's more than that. Like, honestly, guys, unless we talk about like the apartment, renting the apartment, I have to think about that sort of thing. But right now, like if you can put in one good week worth of work, show up 4 days, work 4 days, I'm happy. I'm a happy camper. You do good work, yeah, I'm happy. You can do other volunteer work in other places, go travel around, do 1 week here, go out, travel, go to another city, see what's out there, and then come back another week and work again. Yeah, I have no problem with that. That's fine, man. You guys are free labor. I'll take it. But I don't want you to feel like obliged to show up every week and do this. But once you're at the Forge, you're working, all right? So talking about working, basically how we usually do it, we have 2 shifts. Hopefully you're not like, you have to be a bit of a morning person here for Roman and I, because we get started around 7. We might wake up around 6:30 or 7, have breakfast, drink coffee, just think about life in silence for like 10 minutes, and then go out and start working. And then we'll work until like 11, maybe 11:30, 12. And then, we have lunch break. We take our lunch break. And then we kind of work on our own projects. I might do some studying. He might work on some random stuff, other not staple related, but still military projects. You can help him out. You can help me out. I might be trying to make some video content or something. But that's your time. Do what you like. It's usually around like 3 or 4 hours, and then we get started again around 3 or 4, maybe later. Depends on what we're doing that day. And then we'll work for like another 3 or 4 hours. So we might work from like 4 to 7 or like 4 to like 8 or something like that. And then we'll have evening dinner together. And then, that's it. That's the rest of the night. Go to bed. So that's the pretty much how it works when it comes to our work schedule. It's pretty routine. It doesn't change up that much, honestly. That's pretty much it. And so you'll be doing that like 4 days straight. So yeah, if we show up in the morning, we'll do the morning shift. Or like, if we show up around noon, we'll do the evening shift. And then when we leave, we'll do a morning shift, and then we'll leave around lunchtime. So that's it when it comes to working at the forge. It's not that hard, not that grinding, but like it is getting colder, guys. So you have to be willing to stand out in the cold. And if you're bending staples, if you're doing it hot with Ramon, that'd be preferable, honestly, because unless you're like the pro, guy at welding, and it's like, all right, either I can weld, or this guy who has years of experience can weld and make this, and yeah, we'll do that. But primarily, you'll probably be bending staples, so you gotta be willing to stand in the cold with Ramon, bend staples for like 2 hours straight. All right, you gotta have that sort of mindset. All right, and it's freaking boring. All right, it's boring, but it also like maybe like, I don't know, it's like Zen Buddhism. You kind of enter this nice like Zen state, and like once you get your rhythm going, your mind just goes and wanders off. And yeah, maybe if you want to write a book, yeah, if there's any like aspiring authors, you can like think up your story and all that stuff while you're bending staples. It's like that monotonous, and it forces you to think a lot. I thought about like some story ideas while I was bending staples, but yeah, you can do that. Let's see. I think that's pretty much everything when it comes to going to the forge, doing stuff at the forge. Compensation. I think one person asked about like compensation, any compensation. You might get a souvenir. We might give you a souvenir. It's not a given. If we have extra souvenirs, we might give you a souvenir, but I don't want you to be like, I came here, where's my souvenir? You might get a souvenir. If you're a good guy, we'll probably give you, Ramon will probably give you a souvenir. But yeah, you'll be fed. You'll have housing while you're in the forge. In the city, you're on your own. Take care of yourself. And if I'm in the city, there's not too many foreigners here, so I'm always happy when like another foreigner shows up and we get to interact. We go grab a beer together. So, if I'm busy, I'm busy. But if I got nothing better to do, I'll invite you. I'll show you some of the local bars and whatnot to go to. But yeah, that's volunteering at the forge, guys. Almost a 30-minute video. So yeah, if you want to volunteer at the forge. Oh yeah, crap. Almost forgot, last thing. When to message me about coming to the forge. I should like put this in the front again. Literally like a month. When we talked about previously, I talked about deposits. I thought about it because yeah, some of you guys might be like, you're taking like a holiday from work or something, and so like you're planning this. You have to do communications with your work employee. Like, if you're serious planning, and you want to make sure that I have an opening for you at this time, because like I said, I might have other people at the forge. I'm like, sorry, I got no work for you, or like, the forge is full. You want to make sure I have an opening for you at this time. I understand that, but you need to put a deposit down. And it's funny, I've been in Ukraine so long, I was like, $100. I was like, oh my God, Austin Powers, when he went to the future, Dr. E is like, $1 million. And they're like, that's nothing, bro. Yeah, inflation. It's in Ukraine. I'm not used to how much things are valued, abroad. So I'm thinking, yeah, $200 or 200 euros. Don't worry about the conversion. Like, oh, was it dollars or euros? It's 200, pretty much. Dollars, euros, the main currency of your country. If you're a Western country, around $200. So that lets me know you're serious, and then I will give that time needed to make sure that I communicate with you about, making sure there's an opening for you. I'll give you some insight about how to get to Ukraine too. If like, if you're really not like, obviously if you're putting 200 down, you're serious about it. So I'll give you some info. I'll help you work around it a little. I'm not going to be like your travel agent, but I'll give you a rundown. We can have a short video chat, and I'll give you the rundown about how to make it work. So that's if you have the deposit. And honestly, that's if you're more than a month out. If you're less than a month out, you do not need a deposit. You just need to show me a train ticket. Show me your train ticket. And then also, I am going to ask for some information. I have a little information sheet. I'll email it to you. If you're interested and you have a ticket, or you're about to buy a ticket, you're like, hey man, I want to go to the forge. can I go next week or blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, dude, but just give me this information first, you know, your name, a little bit about yourself, a document, you know, your passport document. So, you know, something happens to us, I at least show like, hey, this is the last guy that was with us. So, yeah, find out who he is. I guess OPSEC too. Honestly, just, I'm not going to tell you what village we live in, but, you know, you can take pictures of the stuff we make. Nothing crazy, bad, you know, share names. His name's Roman. You know, there's God, how many Romans in Ukraine? But, yeah, that's pretty much it, I think, for volunteering at the Forge. I'd love to have you guys. I could definitely use some extra hands. I love meeting people. I used to bartend. I was quite the quiet guy, quite like reserved. I'm like I'm a social introvert. I think that's what you would call it. I'm a social introvert. I like my own time, but I like being, you know, I like to go and talk to people and meet people, but I just like my own time too, very much so. But yeah, bartending, I like meeting new people, getting to hear people's stories, all that cool stuff. I think it's really cool now that I get to meet people around the world, and you know, we all have a common good. We're all trying to help Ukraine. So that's the positive side of all this. That's like my one selfish side, I would say, is like, oh, I get to meet cool people, you know, live a good life. So I also might add a short interview too I did with Seb, or I'm about to do with Seb. So you guys give an idea of like, you know, who showed up, what qualifications did he have, and what am I looking for? All right. If you guys stayed around, thank you very much. I got more subscribers now. I keep getting a few more. It's, I hate to say it's a bit of an addiction, but yeah, hopefully I'll keep pushing out content and I get more people showing up at the Forge. All right, guys, thank you very much. Have a good one.